Goblin launch detected.
This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further as you can use the promo code MTGMUDSTA to get you 5% off anything on the site. Or if you're in Canada like me, you can use the same promo code at Multizone to get 10% off your orders of singles. If cards aren't what you're looking for, Original Magic Art has playmats, tokens, and sweet art that you can use that same promo code to help you get 5% off your order there. If you're looking to bling out your cards, using Alter Sleeves is a great way to do so, and you can click the affiliate link in my About section to help out the channel as you make an order. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin Gang. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's game finds us back at the Face Tour Montreal Open, and I'm playing my new deck, Gyruda, Doom of Depths. I've got Glasspool Mimic, High Market, Swamp, Leyline of Anticipation, Misdirection, Sanctum of Eternity, and Necrotic Ooze. Madison from the Spike Feeders is playing her Ragavan Nimble Pilferer deck, keeping a Tempting Contract, Gamble, 3 Mountains, Hazard's Monument, and Underworld Breach. John from Cardboard Command is playing Prosper Tomebound, keeping Zalfrin Void, a Mountain, a Swamp, a Grim Hireling, Reckless Fireweaver, and a Felwar Stone. Daniel happened to be in the command zone and joined us with his Breena the Demagogue deck, keeping Mirage Mirror, Mother of Runes, Kismet, Wedding Announcement, Fetid Heath, Windswept Heath, and a Snow-Covered Swamp. I win the die roll and start us off, but I do have a turn 0 play with my Leyline of Anticipation. I then draw for turn and play a Swamp. John follows suit by drawing, playing a Swamp, and passing. Daniel plays a Windswept Heath and cracks it, losing 1 to find an untapped Godless Shrine. He taps it for a white for Mother of Runes and passes. Madison draws, plays a Mountain, and casts Ragavan. I play an Island and just pass to John. John draws, playing a Mountain, and taps 2 for a Felwar Stone. Daniel just plays a Snow-Covered Swamp and passes to Madison. Madison plays a Mountain and swings her commander at me for 2. She gets a treasure token and exiles an Altar of Dementia off the top of my library and decides to cast it. She then passes. I draw and play an Underground River, passing. John plays a Zalfrin Void, scrying 1 as it comes in and bottoms it. He casts Prosper and at the end of turn gets a trigger, exiling Reckless Endeavor. Daniel draws and plays a Fetid Heath. He then taps enough for Breena. He swings the Mother of Runes at Madison for 1, but gets to put 2+1/+1 counters onto Breena and draw a card thanks to the on-attack trigger. With nothing else, he passes. Madison draws and plays a Mountain. She casts a Prying Blade and equips it to Ragavan and then moves to combat. She goes again at me this time for 3, and makes 2 treasure tokens, 1 from the blade and 1 from Ragavan, and exiles Read the Bones off the top. She cashes in her treasure tokens to cast it, taking 2, scrying 2, and drawing 2. I play a Seed of the Synod, and then cast a Necrotic Ooze as a blocker and pass to John. John plays a Swamp, and casts a Grim Hireling, moving to combat. He swings Prosper at Madison, and Daniel's commander Breena triggers, letting Daniel put 2+1/+1 counters onto the Mother of Runes, and John gets to draw a card, and then connects, making 2 treasures from the Grim Hireling, seeing a creature hit an opponent. John then passes, and Prosper exiles a Theater of Horrors off the top. Daniel draws and plays a Myriad Landscape, which comes in tapped. Moving to combat, he swings the Mother of Runes at Madison and Breena at John, getting to put 2+1/+1 counters onto each of them. They each take their damage, and Daniel follows up with a Voice of the Blessed in his second main phase, and then an Authority of the Consuls, and passes to Madison. Madison plays a Mountain, and casts a Tempting Contract. Once it's resolved, she keeps Ragavan back on defense, and passes to me. I draw, and having Flash, just play a Swamp and pass to John. John draws for turn and casts the Theater of Horrors from Prosper in exile and gets a treasure token from that. He then moves to his end step and exiles another card with Prosper, putting a mountain into exile. Daniel draws and goes to combat. He swings Breena at John and the Voice of the Blessed at me. The 2 Breena triggers pump the Voice of the Blessed, and John gets to draw 2. John does respond though with a Bedevil on Breena, but Daniel activates and taps Mother of Ruins to protect it. We then take our damage, and Daniel follows up by playing a Bajuka Bog in his post-combat main phase. It comes in and exiles John's graveyard. Daniel then casts a Talisman of Hierarchy and finishes his turn by playing a Mirage Mirror and passing. On Madison's upkeep, the Tempting Contract triggers and we all get a treasure token while she gets 3. She then draws for a turn and casts a Gamble. She tutors for a card, and her random discard is an Underworld Breach. Madison then moves to combat, swinging Ragavan at Daniel, which Daniel responds to using Path to exile it. Madison goes to find a tapped land, and once she's done that, in her second main phase, casts Blasphemous Act, wiping the board. She then plays a Hazoret's Monument and passes turn. At her end step, I flash in my commander, Gyruda, using my treasure token and my lands, and everyone mills 4. I keep a Keen Duelist from Daniel, who also gains 2 life from the Authority since creatures come in, and we move to my turn. On my upkeep, the Keen Duelist triggers and I pick John. We each reveal a land and take 0, and I draw for turn. I play a Drowned Catacombs, and then cast a Dimir Signet, and follow up with a Glasspool Mimic. I have the Mimic come in as a copy of Gyruda, and we each mill 4, and of those 4, I keep a Spark Double, copying Gyruda again. This trigger unfortunately is a dud though, but Daniel does gain 2 off of my creatures entering, jumping to 41. Moving to combat, I swing the Keen Duelist and Gyruda at Daniel for 8, which he takes. I then pass to John. John exiles a Soul Ring off the Theater of Horrors and then draws for turn. He then recasts Prosper, which gains Daniel 1, and then a Reckless Fireweaver, and this gains Daniel another life. John then follows up with a Dockside Extortionist, which upon entering gets him 13 treasures and deals 13 to the table because of the Fireweaver. He then casts a Soul Ring off the theater, getting a treasure token from Prosper, and then dealing 2 to everyone from the token and the Soul Ring entering. John then casts Light Up the Stage for 1, and exiles a Wild Mage Sorcerer and a Swamp. He plays the Sorcerer from exile and gets a treasure token from Prosper, which deals 1 again to the table. Daniel draws and plays a Snow-Covered Plains. He follows up the Kambal Console of Allocation and a Keeper of Accord before passing turn. Madison triggers her Tempting Contract, with each player making a treasure token again, and then each of John's opponents losing 1 from the Fireweaver trigger. She then draws and casts Drakaseth, who comes in tapped, as well as her own Dockside Extortionist, getting a whopping 24 treasures this time, and gaining Daniel 1. She follows up with a treasure map, with Kambal draining her for 2. She then plays at her commander once more, and Daniel gains another life. She equips the Prying Blade to Drakaseth, and on her end step, the Keeper of Accord triggers on Daniel's side, getting him a 1/1. I also take the opportunity to cast Displace on Dimir Signet and Gyruda, and Daniel drains me for 2, and then gains 1 more life as a creature comes in. I mill everyone's top 4, and keep a Sire of Stagnation, and then move to my turn. Keen Duelist triggers on my upkeep, and I pick Madison. I reveal a Sunken Hollow, and she reveals an Academy Manufacturer, which has me losing 3. I then draw and play a Sanctum of Eternity for turn, and move to combat, swinging everything at John. He responds by casting Stomp, losing 2 from Kambal while Daniel gains 2, on the Keen Duelist, and then takes 18. After combat, I activate the Sanctum to return Gyruda to my hand, and pass. On my end step, John casts an Opposition Agent from exile, which cascades. He cascades into a Magmatic Chandler, casting it, and gets 2 treasure tokens from Prosper being 2 spells from exile being cast, and the 2 treasures come in and deal 2 damage to each of us, although Daniel gains that life back thanks to the consoles. Daniel also gets a land off the keeper of a cord trigger, which has him exiling his top 2 and draws me 2 cards. John exiles a command sphere off the theater and draws. He plays a swamp from exile, making a treasure token thanks to Prosper, which has him exiling his 2 cards from the library and drawing me 2 thanks to the Sire. The treasure token coming in deals 1 to his opponents, and John then follows up with a Bone Crusher Giant off of its adventure and makes another treasure token. It comes in, gaining Daniel 1, and the treasure token deals 1 to John's opponents. John then activates a Magmatic Channeler, exiling 2 lands. He casts a Commander's Sphere from the theater, getting a treasure token, and a Cabal trigger. With these on the stack, I respond by casting a Windfall. I get drained by Cabal for 2, with Daniel gaining 2, and Madison responds activating her treasure map to scry 1. John responds by activating the theater to deal 1 to me, and I die. Cabal trigger then resolves, as do the treasure triggers and the sphere, draining John for 2 and dealing 2 to the table. He then plays a Marionette Master, gaining Daniel 1 and opting to put the +1/+1 counters onto him. John then cracks his Commander Sphere to draw a card and deals 4 to Daniel. At the end of his turn, John then exiles a Swamp from Prosper and passes, while Daniel gets a Soldier token from the Keeper, and has the Mirage Mirror become a copy of Drakaseth. Moving to combat, he swings the copy at John and the rest at Madison. The Drakaseth trigger kills John, and the rest kill Madison, winning Daniel the game. Game review time. So I was not overly enamored with my Gyruda deck. It seems to be kind of a one-trick pony, which is that I want to mill into clones and then mill and then mill and then mill and then mill. I'm not too into that kind of a linear gameplay, so it's probably going to come apart. John's Prosper deck did a lot of what Prosper wants to do, which was exile cards. I think the VIP for me this game was probably that Reckless Fireweaver. I had no idea this card existed, and since doing this video, it's been impossible to find a foil copy of it, which is a bit of a bummer. I was also super happy when Daniel sat down and wanted to play his Breena deck, since it was the deck that I got to spoil for Strixhaven, and it was great to see someone who actually knew what they were doing play the deck. Madison's Ragavan deck was a lot of fun to see, and I love the fact that it comes out so early and actually disrupts and helps ramp in mono red. I also really enjoyed the fact that she was leaning heavily into the treasure theme, with the Tempting Contract and Prying Blade helping to feed her treasure token addiction. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Multizone, Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.